Hello everyone, and welcome to another One Piece manga chapter read along. Today I'm going to be reading chapter 1184, and I just finished watching a little while ago the episode for 1164. So that was the chapter or the episode where we met Ripley for the first time. We find out that there is a Vegapunk clone in a like a different from the Stellas. Like it's actually Vegapunk. Like it looks like the Vegapunk that we knew. And they might be able, when they build the lab in Elbaf eventually, they might be able to even save Kuma. So I forgot all about that. So I was really confused in my anime reaction because I was like, wait, what? But then I went to the manga chapter read along and I compared it and I was like, oh my gosh, it's actually there. So okay, it was that the Vega, we find out about the Vegapunk clone that's in the box. We saw the library for the first time. We met Ripley, and this is also at the end of that episode where a certain people show up in the castle. So it's worrying. In obviously in the manga chapter read along, sorry, I was very confused. I went back and compared it because I was like, this looks like someone that we know. But by now, ooh, by now we know that we don't know who it really is back then. But if you watch the anime, we heard the voice of Shaggy. And it is who we thought it was, right? Like it's like almost certain at this point. You heard the voice. So in the manga, we could never hear the voice. In the anime, we could hear the voice, even though it was distorted. But I think the theories are correct, right? I think so. Which makes me very, very excited. But okay. So I just wanted to give you an idea where we are at in the anime versus where we're at in the manga right now. In the manga, last time on chapter 1183, we read the chapter about Brook's past, like when he was around 20 years old. And we saw Gunko as a kid, and we saw Gunko's dad, who looks like this typical kind of like evilish ruler, but he seems to be really nice because he's gardening, and his wife is shown to be like so beautiful and amazing and everyone loves her, which is what makes everyone think that that might just be a facade. But that's what we were saying last time. That was what everyone was theorizing. Now we're going to read today and find out what happens next. So the chapter ended with introducing Candel, and everyone is like in tears. No, wait, that was about Brooke. Okay, but there's people looking at her with awe, and she's sparkling. And yeah, in this era, the kingdom was at peace. And I don't remember when we talked about it last time, or maybe I read a theory afterwards, but I think it was in the video. Isn't it true that Brooke said when we met him on that guy's island, the spooky island, what was it called again? Isn't it true that that used to be the country of this place? What was the place called again? I actually put it in the title of my last video so I can check. Esperia Kingdom. So isn't it true that Brooke said during Thriller Bark, thank you Mike and Tiago, that used to be his country, but it was fallen. It was, and then eventually the main antagonist from Thriller Bark, used it as and made it his own island, or Wow, it's crazy how everything is interconnected, right? But okay, that's just some things that I was thinking about, and as I kept thinking about it during the week, I mean, it was sinking in more and more how wild the whole story is. Okay, so just a quick shout out to the live chat who's able to be here on Twitch. Mike, Tiago, Vermilio, Hunter, Doji, even Hanku is lurking here. Odinoko, Booty, Cherry. Welcome everyone. A shout out to Espada for the gift subs earlier. Mad Rebel sent some bits, Mulder sent some bits. Thank you guys so much for the support. It's the last stream of May. And that means new sponsor movies soon. But okay, just a quick shout out to everyone. Let's focus up and read chapter 1184. I'm, of course, reading on Shonen Jump app. You can also read on Manga Plus. Brooke getting electrocuted by electric jellyfish while swimming in the sea. Well, he can't swim, so he's in a boat. But he is getting electrocuted. And he's showing a thumbs up. Oh! And he's drinking a cup of tea! That's so cute! Oh, poor Brooke. Oh my goodness. What is... Half of his leg is out of the water. It looks like one of those floaties. Like he's in one of those donut floaties or something. But yeah. Look at the eyes of the jellyfish! Oh my gosh. Oda is being on purpose. Oh my goodness. Okay. The chapter is titled We're All Bones When We Die. Well, that's fitting to have electrocuted Brooke on the cover page. We're all bones when we die. Wow. Okay, first page. By the time the Princess of Esperia was 14 years of age, tales of her beauty had spread, until 5 princes of nearby kingdoms had asked for her hand in marriage. Whoa, I yield! You're so weak! We're sorry! I don't like weak men or men who can't play music. Music? Aww. I hear you defeated all the princes in combat, Princess Shuri. So now it's 7 years later. And they're still like, he's still, basically, probably like her personal guard. And, this kind of reminds me of when I was 13 years old or grades 6, 7. And there was a substitute. I don't know, he wasn't a substitute teacher, he was just a new teacher. Like when I was growing up in school, all the teachers were like old. Okay, they had been at this job for a while. And like when you're 13 years old, even people who are like 30 are like old. And I mean, I'm 33 now and I don't feel old, but back then I was like, oh gosh, these old people. But anyway, so then a new teacher came into the school and he was like a student teacher. So meaning I think he was still like in his final year of studying or something. So that would make him 22-ish at the time. And Lord, yeah, we were 13, but everyone had a crush on this guy. So it's just kind of like, and also around the time when I was 14, 15, I remember having a crush on my friend's older brother, even though he was already, we'd only ever see him every now and then because he was studying away from home. So he was probably, yeah, well, he was much older than us. But there's just, when you're a girl, you're like, oh, he's so mature. But anyway, so she clearly is basically me at 13 or 14. And Brooke said, I hear you defeated all the princes in combat. I sure did. You like strong women, don't you, Brooke? Well, I'm a lot stronger now, and I'm a lot cuter. I suppose you are. And I bet my chest will fill out in the future, too. Stop that. It's undignified. Oh, why do you have to talk like Papa? Oh my gosh. Then he sees some actual woman walking by, I guess. And he's like, "Oh, beauteous ladies, might I have a gander at your garters, a peek at your panties? Who's undignified now?" Oh, Lord Brooke. I love the way he speaks, though. Might I have a gander at your garters? But then she throws him with her sword, I guess. So he's just a goofy 27-year-old running after the ladies of appropriate ages, but he's still probably like her personal guard or something. So almost like an older brother type to her. Oh, cows and frogs and slaves and kings, we're all bones when we die. Cows and frogs and slaves and kings, we're all bones in the end. That's all there is to say. Yo-ho-ho-ho-ho. And she's laughing. I love all your songs, Brooke. Yes, His Majesty said the same thing. You really love Papa, don't you, Brooke? And Mamma, too, of course. Yes, I owe him everything. If I hadn't met your father, I'd be nothing but bones by now. And he sings that part. So then we go back to see Brooke at age 11. And he's looking at through a school, all the kids. I wanted to say girls and boys, but kids at the same time, so it came out weird. So they're learning how to play music, and he thinks that they are so lucky. School, instruments, they sound so beautiful. But he gets chased away. That nasty little boy peering through the bars again. And he runs away crying. Oh, I'm so sorry. Shoo, shoo, you're scaring all the students. Ugh, what a stench. The shame of the country. So he lives at the trash dump. Let's blame the king. We need a new king. One day we'll get to play real music. Dad and Mom and my little brother. We're all starving and skin and bones. But he's singing all of this. So he's making up a song. We started 70 years ago and we're now 80 years ago. Doing progress. How am I even alive? Eating toads so I can thrive. Let's blame the king. We need a new king. Those are terrible lyrics. Did you make them up? And is that... It's my violin. That's a violin. I made it out of glass, a glass bottle and some wire. Doesn't it sound nice? Sure, way to be creative. You came here before, right? Are you a fan of mine, old man? Ha ha ha. Maybe I am. But I'm not that old. I'm only 21. Wow, you look so much older. Yoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. You must have a hard life. Whoa, you got a weird laugh, kid. I guess I'll call you Aniki instead. Here, Aniki, I'll cook you a meal as a sign of friendship. I caught some fresh grasshoppers and a frog today. That's good. The secret ingredient is curry powder. I steal it from the Navy ships that come to port every now and then. It makes everything you put in taste like curry. I guess that's not much of a secret ingredient then. Yo! The soup du jour is a dollar abalone, harvested from the Euro Peninsula and cooked in red wine with A6 rupee beef. Your Highness, this is the daughter of the Saffron, Zaibatsu. She graduated top of her class from Enoa Academy. What's up, Aniki? It's so good it made you cry? Huh? Oh, right. This is Asperia too. I'm just a little tired. Thanks for the meal. And then he eats the frog. But it's not easy. but he still eats it. So it kind of reminds me, not exactly the same situation, but two things. Number one, it reminds me of when Zoro eats the food that the little girl made for him. Only like it was like onigiri with sugar and I don't know what else. And then it got stomped on, but he ate it anyway. And he told Luffy to say to her it was really good. And also it reminds me of a scene from Indiana Jones the second movie, yes. Where they go to people who have very, very little, but then they share their food with them as a sign of respect. And then the girl doesn't want to eat the food because she's used to like living in luxury. But yes, I think Temple of Doom. And then he says you have to eat it because they have nothing and they're sharing this with you. So you have to show them respect. So good it makes you shiver, huh? I'm glad you like it so much. Hang on, Aniki, I'll sing you a song. What? You want to pay me? Don't bother. We've each got our troubles, don't we? And then he goes to visit him with drinks and I don't know what that is. That looks like poison. Oh, alcohol and cigarettes. Alcohol and what do you call the thick ones? Cigars. One day, Esperia Cello Port. It's a naval escort ship. Load the merchant ship with instruments. Be very careful. They're fragile. I don't know what you mean. You got the wrong guy. Don't lie to me, you little mule. Where's the powder the gangsters told you to carry? Where'd you hide it? We paid a lot of money for that stuff, and you're supposed to give it to us. And instead, what do we find? Curry powder. Cows and frogs and slaves and kings. We're all bones when we die. Stop singing! It'll be over in a moment if I keep singing. So long, stray dogs. So long, Aniki. Either way, he's seen our faces. We have to kill him and go after the gang. And then he's, oh my gosh. We're all bones when we die. Brooke! And he burst through the door. Aniki? Prince Reuven? Huh? Prince? I'm so glad you're all right, Brooke. I don't know what I'd do to myself if you died. Step back, your highness. The battle convoy will handle the rest. Don't try to stop me. I'll do this myself. Look what these guys did to my little friend. They need to feel the same pain he did. Hey, wait. That's Esperia's battle convoy. Prince Reuven, we've caught the Moulin family and the mule who was transporting their drugs. Mule? Then he really is just a kid who loves curry powder? What? Your Highness, you have to set your personal grudge aside. The world government is behind the Navy. If the government is backing this scum, then the world is truly coming to an end. Right, Candel? I am your trusted blade, Highness. I will fight at your side. Well, we all know where the kingdom of Esperia turned out. What happened to the kingdom of Esperia, don't we? A prince who's learning about the truth of the world government. A beautiful, trusted blade by his side. A kingdom eventually in tatters. We know where this is going. Hey, stop. We're the Navy. No, you're not. You're trash. He is emotionally invested, and she might be playing a role. They're sword fighting. That is so cool. Hey, Did you hear? Lady Candela has done it again. She's saved the kingdom from peril. They're laying it on too thick. Of course, we're gonna. Are you awake now, Brooke? I'm not angry at you, Prince Reuven. I'm simply asking that you be more mindful of your royal position. Yeah. Hey, Brooke, you're a prince, Aniki? Listen, I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I wasn't trying to hide it. I just had too much fun hanging around you to ruin the good times. Also, don't you dare tell anyone about stealing that curry powder. Every time Prince Reuven went missing, we went into a panic trying to find him. I never would have guessed he was passing the time with such an adorable little friend. Okay, can I just say, I watched episode 9 of a certain show today, the finale of a second season of a certain show, and if you know, you know. So the idea of spies being planted is a little bit like extra stressful to me right now. What was the line? Something about a relationship in the ranks. So yeah, I'm not feeling confident about this one. Especially not with the constant sparkles, like really trying to drive home how she appears. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know your wounds were so deep. Nah, he's fine. Ignore him. Still Brooke. Brooke is Brooke. More importantly, listen up. This guy, because she's trying to curry favor with the prince. So obviously she would be like, oh, I would have never guessed such a passing time, adorable little friend. Like, of course, to get to, because the prince doesn't seem to be particularly enamored with her at this point. It's a beautiful woman who fights next to him, who kind of has to keep track of his whereabouts because of his royal position. But when she says, be more mindful of your position, he is not bothered with her. He only like worries about Brooke. And he's like, yeah. So how is she supposed to win his heart? This is maybe the way. Oh, I'm sorry I didn't know your wounds were so deep. Nah, he's fine. More importantly, listen up. This guy is my favorite musician. Give him a room in the barracks and some real instruments, and make it so he can attend school. We've got a new star in Esperia. Huh? I love this guy. If we keep him around, life in the palace is going to be way more fun. But he's basically being like whisked away from the world he knew. Clearly he had a mother, he had a brother, he had a mother, a father, and a younger brother. He wasn't, how to say this, he was struggling to survive, and he was looking at the kids who could learn and freely and play music, but he was happy where he was. He was comfortable at the very least, you know. That was probably where he shared memories with his family and to just whisk him away and now pretend like now everything's fine. You have food, you have school, you have this, and he's going to become a star. Like, his heart is not ready for that. That's not how you handle this kind of thing. And it's good that like he went to him in his where he was comfortable. He gave him food, he gave him alcohol and cigarettes. He tried to pay him, but he's still a prince. It's not like he's being bad or anything, but he grew up in luxury, and some part of him understood, I think, that the contrast between the extremes between these two ways of living is not right. So he's still young. At 21, you don't really fully understand what causes these extremes and how to fix them. But he just knew that he was happy there with Brooke when he was listening to Brooke's songs. But what inspired those songs is his life there. So now you just pluck him like a rose out of a garden. You just pluck him and plant him again. That's not really how it works. So I don't know. It's just not gonna. I'm sure eventually he will. How to say? They will figure things out. But he's still a very young prince, and I don't think this is the best way to go about it. Yeah. But I think through that journey of what is right for Brooke, but also giving him a better life, of course, but in a way that acknowledges who he is and where he's been, and not just doesn't. I think through that journey where they learn about each other and they find what works for them, that woman is going to use Brooke to get to the king, the prince who is the future king. And then there's a reason why that kingdom failed. That kingdom doesn't exist anymore. There's a reason why Gunko is part of the celestial dragons. So I think the theories of her that we heard last week seem very accurate, considering like where this seems to be going. What do you guys think? Oh, Brooke. Short is chapter and no chapter next week. Oh, it was 13 pages. Damn, no chapter next week. Let me adjust the schedule. Okay, so this was chapter 1, and I'm going to read the Discord post in a second. 1184. Next Sunday, nothing. The 7th, right? So then we have 1185. One 1186. 1187. Probably. It's Oda's in South Africa for the filming. I have a feeling this is my... People love... And I'm not saying this is like a shot in the dark, but I can imagine the day that Oda decides to retire, he might buy himself a holiday home in Cape Town. That place is like, at least on the surface, I mean, we don't have winters the way other places have winters. It's South Africa. You can go to the mountains and the beach in the same day. I don't think he'll ever maybe move out of Japan, but I do think that if not when he retires, but maybe even now, maybe he'll even already has a freaking holiday home in Cape Town. But it makes me want to move to Cape Town and just like run into him someday. I'll be like, hey, Hanku's mom sells houses if you need a reference. I hope they give us the songs. They better. If you saw, I would not ask Oda a thing about One Piece. I would say, dude, I mean, Oda sensei, thank you. Just everything that you've been doing, thank you. And keep doing it for as long as you feel like it, but just thank you. That's literally, I've thought about it. I 100%, because I go to Cape Town sometimes. I've totally thought like running into Oda, the first words out of your mouth, maybe the only words, thank you. And then you leave him to do whatever he is doing because you also don't want to bother him. But you have to, if you get a chance, you have to just say thanks. I don't know why I said dude. I meant to say Oda Sensei. Oda-sama. I'm kidding. But yeah, I wouldn't ask him anything about One Piece. Have you not watched One Piece? Did you not see what Luffy did to when Usopp just had a question? I'm joking. That question was specifically about the... But yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at the manga chat. The first message posted is from Rohit. What does Oda mean by Brook and Emu looking jellyfish cover? I know. I think he's just messing with us. But I do absolutely love that title about all bones when we're all bones when we die. Like no matter what life we live. And if you think about it it's kind of shocking when you think about how short the human life is in comparison to how long the world, like we're literally like, you know, like bugs, they live a few days and then it's... Dude, thank you. Might I have a gander at your garters? Oh goodness. No, wait. So in the large scheme of things, we live about 60 to 80 years, right? And think about how long the world has existed and will probably continue to exist. We are literally like dust in the wind, like, but it doesn't feel like that to us. But to the universe itself, the way that, not the universe so much as time and existence, the same as like, what are those bugs that only live for a few hours? It's almost that level. So sometimes you have to think about your own problems, especially those of us in the first world, where we have internet and sandwiches at the press of a button. I'm talking about, well, not a press of a button, but you know what I mean. Like, we have to sometimes look at our problems and literally laugh at ourselves for being worried about, like, it doesn't mean our problems have less meaning, but it's just sometimes it's when you think about it that way, it's easier to take a step back. It's almost, it goes further than we're all bones when we die. It's like we're all dust in the end. Just for a little bit of perspective, sometimes it does not mean our lives don't have meaning. I think it just helps to put things into perspective, especially for those of us that have so much and yet we get bogged down so easily by problems, you know? Um, yeah, yeah. I do wonder why Brooke said about Gunko, she's someone I'd hoped I would never have to face again. Do you think he fought the queen? I think so. Maybe he couldn't save her father and maybe he felt ashamed. Maybe Gunko fought with her mother because her mother brainwashed her. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure Brooke said Gunko killed her father, so I'm going off that. Maybe the mother lied about something her father did. Shh. But okay. Some things just never change. That was Tiago's comment. Might I have a gander at your garters? I love that. So funny. I'm pretty sure this hints at Brooke's family dying by starvation. 100%. 100%, yeah. Meanwhile, the king is going incognito, looking around his kingdom. I don't think that's the king at that point. He was just a prince. Looking around his kingdom and realizing how good he really has his life at the moment when he meets Brooke. I think, have you guys ever watched The Prince and the Pauper? But I when I was a kid, I watched the Barbie version. The Princess and the Pauper. So it was a Barbie movie Barbie as The Princess and the Pauper, a beloved 2004 animated musical film loosely inspired by Mark Twain's classic novel. So it's just kind of like these two are the same age, so it's very different. But it's kind of like she gets an experience of this life and sees her problems, and she gets an experience of this life, and I don't remember if she has problems. But it's like a young person learning that, because up until the point where your what is it? Your prefrontal cortex doesn't really fully develop until you're like 23. So you have a very this view of the world, especially when you're in your teens, but he's 21, so it's a bit older. But I think the more easy your life is in a sense, the longer it takes for you to fully develop the idea that there are people outside of my world. Like this, it's kind of how, remember when I was reading this earlier and it said um okay, people spread out of Africa from around 60,000 years ago, extending our abilities to survive in inhospitable locations through sheer ingenuity. So eventually, societies were built up to the point where some of them were very comfortable. In some regions, there were periods of relative peace and abundance. In these civilized societies, that offered people an opportunity. Because now, imagine every day of your life, you have to use every second for survival, food, shelter, and the like. Once you build a society and those kinds of things become easily accessible, you have a house built for you where you sleep every night. You have a food because there are farmers and this and that. So you don't have to worry about where your next meal is coming from. So at that point, that is when people were free to wonder about our place in the universe. And that's when people started philosophies and stuff. And then, wait. Eventually, when we learned about, oh, here we go. Within a few generations, humanity went from living at the center of the universe to residing on a speck of dust on the edge of one galaxy among billions. That is a societal experience, but also an individual experience where when you're growing up, this is, you are the center of your universe. And as you grow up, you learn that there are people having hundreds of thousands of different experiences separate from mine, living their own lives as their own MCs of their own stories. And you have to come to terms with that as you grow up. It's difficult when you're 13, 14, because your brain doesn't necessarily have the capability to wrap itself around that the grandeur of the truth of that, right? Sometimes it can be very humbling, especially for someone who was raised as a prince. So usually I think that happens around, like, it doesn't just happen overnight. It takes a few years sometimes, but the easier your life is, I think the longer it really takes to sink in. But it's not that it's a bad thing. Your brain is developing and learning and growing. So him at 21 was seeing for the first time and it's not just a different experience, it is two extremes. I think that must have been especially hard to wrap your head around, and like, how do you help someone like that? That's why he ended up just having fun and just, you know, until, well, his life was at stake, Brooke's life. And then I guess he thought he was doing Brooke a favor by giving him school, giving him this, and I just don't know if Brooke is going to be okay with that. Doesn't look that way when you see that face, right? Ooh, that's interesting. Good question. Tiago said, I'm pretty sure Brooke said Gunko killed her father, so I'm going off that. But why would that make him not want to face her? Anger? Or is he hiding the truth about something so that Gunko doesn't? doesn't find out she killed her father. I don't think my theory would be, if Brooke knew that Gunko was out there being manipulated, I don't think he would have been sitting and like I don't know. I think he would have a little, I don't know. My theory is that he thought maybe the queen and Gunko both like, I don't know. Why else would he not want to see her? He would have wanted to save her if he knew she was being manipulated. But I mean, at that point, he probably thought she was dead. But when he sees her, he doesn't say, he says, I didn't want to see you. I don't know. That is a tough one. Okay. Rohit says, I'm pretty sure he was a prince at the time, not the king yet. Yeah, but I'm not going to switch that easily when I don't really have his name remembered. Not a fan of this, I must admit. It's not a big deal, but part of me hoped this was more of a consequence of his descent into madness after decades alone, and not a trait he already had. So Chandler doesn't like that Brooke had some Sanji in him before he was spending so much time alone. Oh shoot. You are now a trusted weapon of the Holy Knights of God, a devoted blade. And then he says it's an honor. And there's the same words that she used. I am your trusted blade. Allow me to accompany you. Same language. That's the giveaway. Then Tiago says, any case, they're really laying it on thick with what an awesome guy he is as a prince. With how he talked about the government. I'd imagine the elders at least had their eye on getting rid of Vesperia, assuming he kept up the same attitude as a king. 100%. 100%. There are so many signs. Imagine if that attitude came from a teacher that Brooke ended up learning from at school. I don't think they wouldn't have the same teachers though. I would guess. Like he's a royalty. He would have personal tutors, and I'm guessing Brooke went to a school with other kids. I think if Brooke learned anything, it would have been directly from the prince, not from a. Personally, it seems to me this prince learned from experience. He went out into his kingdom, as many princes do. He saw the way that some were living, and that's what part of his journey to learning about the world and right and wrong. Oh, it was about the panty pickup line. Oh. No, but he's already, when Candel talks to him or like gets close to him, he's already like passing out of a nosebleed. And she said, I didn't know your wounds were that deep. Like, oh my god, did I touch you? Like what? And then he's like, no, ignore him. It's just like, it seems the way that he is. What little joy do you have as a kid out on the streets eating frogs? He was stealing curry, maybe looking up girls' skirts. Who the fuck cares? He's 7. Let him have his joys. There's nothing that gives you more hope than a nice pair of boobs. I mean, panties. I'm joking. I was thinking more the rebellious attitude towards the Navy's activities instead of turning a blind eye to them. Not so much his anger towards them. Oh, this was in response to what Rohit says. So Rohit said, I don't think they got rid of the kingdom because of his anger towards the world government. If Kandel being a holy knight is true, they had this plan for years. I think it has something to do with him being Davy clan bloodline or hiding something in Hesperia. Well, what then we have to ask ourselves, what was the reason why did he even bother to go out into his kingdom? Maybe seeds of doubt were already being spread before, years before. But to be fair, I wouldn't be surprised if the world government just had a bunch of spies planted in every kingdom in case to hear, is there any dissent? We have to squash it before it, you know? Rohit says, I'm loving Brooks' flashback so far. Oda's the best when he does backstories. At his best, I guess. But I'm assuming we will not get the full picture of Esperia flashback because it's Brooks' POV, and he didn't know about Imu and Gunko being possessed. Hmm. Chandler said, does that really matter? We recently got Loki's flashback, which turned into Harold's flashback, which turned into Rox's flashback. And then Rohit said, yes, but Harold and Rox are not alive, so Oda stuffed all of that into Loki's backstory. And Loki never said explicitly that he didn't know some things happening, unlike Brooke. Instead, Gunko is still alive, so Oda can do two POVs of the flashback. Ooh. Come to think of it, Oda was kind of wilding there. Hope he never does something similar in the future. I understand why some would feel that way about the flashback in a flashback, but as you pointed out, Oda is at his best with backstories, like fleshing out characters and stuff through these. And I 100% understand why that is not everyone's cup of tea, but I absolutely love. Like, yeah, sure, I missed Luffy and everyone at one point. So yeah, 100%. But honestly, at this point, I'll I'm I've never trusted the process more than with Oda's process. Um, Tiago says, I'm not sure about the electricity, but emu jellyfish should be easy enough since jellyfish in theory won't die from aging, but are not invincible against the food chain either. Brilliant! That's true. Technically, jellyfish or some jellyfish can live forever because they regenerate their cells, recreate. Well, let's Google that. Most jellyfish have fixed lifespans ranging from a few hours to several months. However, the species Chiritopsis dorni, known as the immortal jellyfish, is biologically immortal. When stressed or aging, it reverses its life cycle, transforming back into an immature polyp to start over. But just because it can do that doesn't mean, a shark can't go by and like, I don't think sharks eat jellyfish, but they're just biologically immortal. They do not die of old age, but they're still vulnerable to the same perils as any other marine creature. They're frequently eaten by predators like fish and sea turtles, and they can also succumb to disease or fatal changes in their ocean environment. Theoretically, this loop from polyp to adult and back again can be repeated indefinitely, allowing the jellyfish to completely bypass death. Imagine we could be like, I'm stressed, let me rewind time a bit. Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of um experiments and stuff being done with this kind of whatever is helping them do this, you know? This is what it looks like. Mm. Very cool, right? I wonder where you can find this kind of jellyfish. Pteridopsis dorni is officially known as the only immortal creature. It turns out that once the adult form have reproduced, they don't die, but transform themselves back into their juvenile polyp state. Very, very cool. Okay, what is next here? I think there were some more posts. But yeah, I wouldn't put it past the jellyfish and the brook specifically, but it was someone's request and he chose to use that for a reason. Brooke being electrocuted while swimming. But as a devil fruit user, Brooke can't swim, so I don't know, he had a floaty or something. But yeah, the jellyfish were clearly emu for a reason there, you know, because of the immortal thing. But then the electricity, kind of anytime we see electricity, it could just be, you know, part of the little story that someone requested, but also energy. And then last but not least, damn, seeing this in today's episode hits even harder. Oh my gosh. I didn't even. But to be fair, when I read this, I mean when I watched the episode, I hadn't read this yet, so true. Okay. I'm quickly taking a peek if there are any theories on X, and then I still want to do Ikigai tonight, so sorry, I saw the wrong thing. Here we go. One Piece 1184. Oh, wait. Was the D confirmed? Because this person is posting David D. Rubin, David D. Chebek, David D. Teach. What if, just hear me out, Emu is Davy Jones, and that is why he can only possess someone from the Davy clan, and for that reason he sends some holy knights out to the sea and the breed with the Davies. It's not confirmed, it's a theory. Okay. Someone posted this. Akagami Void posted, thank goodness they took their mother's genes. That's killing me. Okay. Princess Shuri. That's weird. A lot of people don't realize if Kendall is truly a man mayor and is the reason why her daughter is a prized possession of Imu, she might truly be top one worst mom in the story. Her basically getting Gunko stronger so when she reached the right age, she will be Imu's vessel. Meaning there was never love for her daughter as a person, but rather love in a way that she is fulfilling a duty that would please Imu. Damn, how do we forget this? Young Garling mentions to the Gorosei that he tried offering God Valley membership of the world government, but they had refused the offer. I wonder if they accept, would God Valley hunt still have happened? Could Candel had actually offered the king of Esperia for them to be accepted in the world government and he refused? So apparently this happened. I don't remember it. It's a non-affiliated state, but it has a unique culture. We tried offering them membership to the world government. I don't remember that. But maybe it's like join me or die kind of situation. If Kandel truly is a OPP for Emu and is a Knight of God, what else should represent for Emu? It's possible she is Emu version of what a muse is in real life and Greek mythology. Muses were known as being goddesses of literature, music, science, and arts. We got Candel that loves opera and music, though she's on a long mission. She is finding joy through music of people she 9 out of 10 see as insects. She like he's saying most likely she's listening to this music, but to her, they're possibly she looks down on them because if she's a celestial dragon. Guess who was said to be one over muses, and that's Apollo, the god of music, poetry, and so on. He was the most beautiful god and could connect to Emu in a way. Also, one of his symbols was the lyre, and we see that on Asperia. In Greek mythology, Apollo is the divine leader of the muses, known by the epithet Musagetes. He directs their choir and acts as the supreme patron of music, poetry, and arts. While Apollo commands and supervises them, the muses themselves possess absolute control over creative inspiration. So, what he's saying, this theory is that Candal represents Emu's muse. Goddess in ancient Greek, the muses were the inspirational goddesses of literature, science, and the arts. They were considered the source of the knowledge embodied in poetry, lyric songs, and myths that related. What does this though? What you know? So are they theorizing that like Emu could represent Apollo and she would be his muse? How did you guys feel about Ripley's pink hair, by the way? Also, this is a comparison between, since now we have theorized in the manga that the Denden Mushi is Shirahoshi's, right? I don't remember exactly who shared that theory and when, but this community has theorized that, and I agreed a long time ago. Then today we got the anime, and I heard the voice. It's clear as day, I almost want to say. And then so I just saw this also. Hello. Hello. Pink hair, very flamboyant. Yeah, it's definitely her. Definitely. Yeah, so this is Ripley that we met her for the first time in the manga, and this is her in the anime. I'm gonna be it's Shirahoshi. Yeah. Um, I was thinking she'd have like Nami color hair, honestly. So I'm very surprised with the pink. But I absolutely love the pink. I was just surprised. What I didn't love was her green clothes. Too much green. Now I need Loki X Shirahoshi art. I think there might be. Wait, let me look it up. Loki X. Because this has been a theory for a long time. The anime just confirmed it. Man. Loki X Shirahoshi. Shirahoshi was locked in Eve tree and Loki was locked in Adam tree. Shirahoshi reject Vanderdecken and Loki was rejected by Lola. I think Loki and Shirahoshi might end up together. Oh. Wait, what do you mean Shirahoshi? Oh, Shirahoshi rejected Vanderdecken and Loki was rejected by Lola. Or did he? Oh. There doesn't, I can't find any like fan art, but there has to be. Oh, wow. Okay, I don't know. I don't know if this is, but ERO Felipe. Look at this, is gorgeous. Look. Wow. I don't know whose art this is, but it's posted by someone called ERO Felipe. Hmm. This one is posted by ZTRTKBTS. Oh my goodness. I am excited to see more fan art of these two. Ah, this one is more likely AI. Yeah, Doji, find me some. The Straw Hats will return to Fishman Island via a deep sea current that runs below the underworld of Elbaf. And remember that Shirley, she said, I saw the future. What happened? What did you see? I wish this prophecy would not come true. The human with the straw hat. He will bring ruin to Fishman Island. Bring ruin. Maybe that means bring Loki. Mm? There's a deep sea current below Elbaf, and that's how the Straw Hats and Loki will be able to go to Fishman Island to save Mosa, aka Shirahoshi. Return to Fishman Island. Oh my gosh. So maybe, oh, I don't know, maybe Emu will want to go there and they have to go try and go there faster or something or reach there quickly. And then Shirley saw how Luffy brought ruin, but it only came like in parallel, but he wasn't the one that actually brought it. You know what I'm saying? Damn. But okay, that is it for today. I want to also finish up with Ikigai. I thought the chapter was great. I think the theories are so interesting. And I love how everything's just kind of like, but it's been happening for years. Like, one question gets answered, 10 questions get added, and the world just keeps expanding, and the characters just keeps being amazing. And yeah. What if BB is attacking Fishman Island now? Wait. What the lost theory was that he's attacking Marie Joie, or someone's attacking Marie Joie. But it could... Oh, wait, no, that was maybe the rebel army. Maybe. Where was the last place we saw Blackbeard? Did I say Blackblade? Where was the last time we saw Blackbeard? Whoa, who rolled? What wish rolled? Whoa, damn. I was sad this morning. I decided to not go for guts as my wish after Ace. I guess it was the right choice after all. Damn. Did you also get... Wait, did guts also roll? Oh, okay, nice. He got guts at least. Nice. Damn, a lot of big things rolled today, and I wasn't there for any of it. Oh. Let's see. Wished by... Wow. 2B. Guts. I don't know. She rolled twice or 3 times in the last 2 days. Ace. And I got vanilla yesterday. And I'm glad because I have chocolate too. Panya got Thorfinn and I was clicking. All right, he rolled. Hanku's wish. Oh, Kaneki rolled 2. Holy shit! The hell! And I haven't been here for any of it. But yeah, at least I think this is truly... Booty, I know you're the king and you are the first... You have the first soulmate of the server and I'm so happy for you, but this is truly Vert's war. Oh, so funny. Kaneki was a 5-second lottery too. Nice. I think Marijawa is located above Fishman Island, so Bibi could just as easily been to both places during the Albuff arc. And me rolling for the first time. You did? What's your name on here? Wait, I can go here. I can go to welcome. And is this you? No? The other send me a friend request. Who did Vert get since you say it's his war? I just mean like... He usually struggles to get high characters to trade for his favorite, but he's rolled like almost all the straw hats. And he has been able to trade for so many of his favorites. So like just in terms of like from that other movie from Rags to Riches, like it's Vert's war, And me rolling for the first time. Minty? Did Minty just roll? Where did Minty roll? Okay, but let me finish up. It was great. I am excited. The story is just as exciting now as it has always been. It can go on for as long as it wants to, and I will be happy to read. I'm just still a little bit vindictive about it should just end already. I'm just saying, I'm so glad it's continuing. And yeah. I'm glad that we're getting Brooke's backstory. I truly never expected it to go further back than what we've got with Laboon and stuff. I don't know. And you never know what to expect with Oda. Reminds me of how Usopp was so excited to go to Elba for this warrior place, you know, and then they got there and all the kids were very well mannered and they were like, no, we're not gonna be warriors. That's dangerous. And he was so disappointed. But like, when you get over that first disappointment of it not turning out the way you imagined, you can realize like there's still so much to appreciate. Just because things don't go how you imagine doesn't mean there's not so much like with One Piece now, how I never thought this would happen, but then this happens and then it stays exciting as long as as long as Oda keeps writing and wanting to write, but yeah, there's a lot to appreciate about the story and the characters. I agree. We can split it between the two of us. Nami's second backstory next. No! Zoro! Zoro! But I have a feeling. I have a feeling about Zoro. We're never gonna get more. We need more. I've given up on Zoro 95%, but I can't fully give up because it's Zoro. But at this point, I think there's too much hype for it. So Oda's like, you know what? Let's keep it a mystery. I'm not gonna. And also because it just feels like when Oda does backstories, it's always these sad things and Zoro is not that kind of character. Like this thing happened to him when he was a kid. I don't know where his parents were, but he went to a dojo. His friend died, and then he said he's gonna become the strongest swordsman, and that's what his life was about. No trauma beyond that. Like I think Zoro's the type of guy. His adventures could be multiple movies, but I don't see a backstory happening either, and it makes me so sad. Zoro's backstory got lost. Makes sense. Yeah, I'm 95% given up. Okay, thank you guys. And I'll see you not next Sunday, but the Sunday after that. Bye.